It's once again time to keep track with Dino Alberto. It's our Keeping Track segment with local motorsport journalist, and today he has with him Mackenzie Adams, 14 years old, been driving for a while now. Your whole family drives. I asked you, I said, what's it like being in a family like this? And you said, well, it's normal to me. What's your earliest memory of racing?
I just remember being at the track when I was young, watching my dad and being in victory lane with him. I think like the earliest I can remember him in victory lane was like 2013 or 2012.
When did you think, I want to do this? This is something that I want to do.
Well, my brother started before me, and after seeing how much fun he had with it, I thought, hey, I think I would want to try this too. And then eventually we got cars and then started out. Well, when I first started, we started racing like little go-karts at an indoor track in Lehighton. And then after that, I was like watching dirt racing. I got in a dirt cart, and then we got slingshots and just build up from there.
Dino, tell me about Mackenzie. How would you describe her? You watch her drive. How would you describe her to me?
First of all, she's a very good talent, and she is part of the future. We need kids like this, kids like her brother, and in order to grow the future here, because this is a great sport. For generations, it's been happening here in the Northeast, and they're carrying on a great family legacy. The Adams family, which originates out of the Berwick area, from her grandfather, her uncles, her dad, of course, her mom, they all raced. They got nearly 50 wins, Kenny, down at Evergreen Raceway. So when she got in the car, obviously she had so much to rely on. Her dad taught her well, and what I like about her is her style. Very clean racer out there. You need to be aggressive, especially in the kind of class that she's in with the 4 cylinders. And when she's at Mahoning Valley, where I see her race as well, known as the hobby stocks, again, you need to be aggressive, but she's smart. She takes her time. She looks at the positions that she needs to be in and doesn't overdrive the car. She's good on the equipment. And again, it's all about listening and learning and getting laps. So as she has done that, she has continued to progress, and just recently picked up another win down at Evergreen Raceway in the 4-cylinder class. So that's what it's all about. And you carry on that legacy that really, I think that's fantastic with these guys.
Who gives you a lot of instruction? Does it come from your dad a lot?
Yeah, most of my instruction comes from my dad. One of the passes I made on Sunday actually was he told me that I needed to keep my line and then dive down under the car, and that's how I made like the pass that got me in the lead. So just listening and trying to like work at it. You don't want to drive it too hard and mess up and then have to restart in the back, and then just keeping up with everybody.
What's one moment you're really proud of in the car? Can you give me a highlight or something that sticks out, something you think of and you're like, yeah, that was awesome, that was pretty cool?
I think the highlight was actually that pass I made the other day. I mean, I was leading most of the race, and then the guy hit me from behind, and it wasn't like a bad hit. It was just a bump and run, wasn't anything bad. And then I was working. There was like, I think 5 laps left, and then it was on the white flag. I made the pass. I mean, I ended up getting wrecked, but it was still a really proud moment that I got that pass in the first place.
So Micah Adams joins us now, 12 years old, of the Racing Adams family. You started at 4 years old driving. What's your earliest racing memory? What's your first memory out of track?
I remember at Snydersville, I fell asleep in my car and I hit a tire.
So while you were driving, this happened?
Yes.
No kidding. So that woke you up then, got a little jolt?
Yep.
What's the lesson you learned there?
Don't fall asleep.
Yep. Good lesson. How have you changed from when you first started driving? What's a big difference from when you started driving, other than staying awake in the vehicle? What's a big change you've made from when you were 4 years old maybe to right now 12?
I've learned to focus more in the car.
Dino, you mentioned that Micah was the first winner of the Rookie Hobby Stock Series, and that was at Mahoning Valley, and the crowd was huge. COVID, was that summer when you guys opened up, really first time back. What was that scene like?
First of all, it was standing room only, and it was just amazing because it was the very first feature race back from COVID, and people were hungry to see racing, and we had all these young kids out on the track. We didn't know what to expect, and makes a late race pass on this thing and comes out of turn number 4 and takes the checkered flag. The place was just crazy after that. It was pretty ecstatic, pretty exciting to see that. So into the history books went Micah Adams as the very first winner in that division.
And this year, as of we're recording this, which is the first week of August, when we're recording this, you're the points leader currently, right, at Evergreen. What series do you know?
At Evergreen Raceway in the 4-cylinder stock division. He and his sister, Mackenzie, who we just saw, runs in that class. Mike has actually been racing regularly the last couple of seasons down there. Interesting to note, here's 12 years old, but he's already a veteran. He's been going at this for, 8 years now or something like that. So he's got a lot of laps under his belt, as does his sister. And to think that the future for this kid as well is pretty bright. And he's just as equally a good a talent as Kenzie and everybody else in the class. These are all nice young kids. They're learning. They don't have those bad habits. Some of these older drivers know what I'm talking about, but they can do these little trick things here and there. But these kids, they're very clean out on the racetrack. That's important. You got to have that respect for one another, because when you respect one another, you respect your equipment, and you wind up having a very good race, and that's what these guys give us. Ken, I could actually add to that. This kid is quite the shutterbug as well. Not only does he race cars, but he takes pictures of cars. We sometimes will throw a camera in his hand and helps us out, whether it be at Evergreen or at Mahoning Valley or wherever. If I see him in the pits with me and I'm covering a race, he's my go-to guy.
Taking a good racing photo, how do you do it? I've tried to take still photos. I do video a lot, but I just really can't get still. How do you do it? What's a good racing photo?
You just got to bring the camera with the car.
Just make sure you're following and tracking with speed in that.
Yep.
Would you like to keep taking pictures like that, or no, just, hey, keep me in the car?
Both.
Dino, recently you were sending me photos. When we were setting up this segment, you said, hey, Ken, I'm actually on my way to a Destruction Derby in New Jersey. Tell me about that a little bit. You were announcing that. Let's talk a little bit about Destruction Derby.
It seems a lot of guys who are the owners of junkyards are able to collect these types of cars. They come out rolling. The sheet metal on these 1960s and 70s is almost pristine, and then they get out there and they just totally destroy these things. But the crowd loves it. They love it. There's a couple of bucks that they go home with in their pocket, but fun. It's a different style of motorsport. Here locally, you could see it at the Bloomsburg Fair annually there. They run down at the Allentown Fairgrounds, the West End Fair, very, very popular up there. The Carbon County Fair does something like that.
What was the coolest thing you saw when you were at your most recent event?
It's amazing. So they'll try to launch some of these guys right out of the park. So they have these big blocks, these big, what they call, the Jersey barriers, and other guys will just ram into these, into the next person, and you could see these guys just rolling right outside of the track.
So a lot of great racing still to come in our area, and to keep track of all of it, make sure you read Dino's work in the Standard Speaker, and we'll have him here right here on SSP TV News.